Hello beautiful people and welcome. In this video we will be adding polynomial expressions. We will only be adding. In a different video we will be subtracting. There will be two formats that we will be looking at, a vertical format and a horizontal format. As always, if I make a mistake, I am human. Please let me know where the mistake occurs so that way I may learn from it. Let's jump in with the vertical format for example number 1. So vertical format is taking that second or third or whatever, however many polynomials you have, and writing them on top of each other. So I'm going to take this polynomial here and I'm going to write it underneath. Now when you're doing this, it is extremely important that you match up with your variable and your exponent. So I'm going to do a thinking bubble here. Super important. So match up each term with variables and exponents. If one is missing, we call this a placeholder. And you're going to write a placeholder as 0. You're going to put your variable and your exponent. So let's do an example here. If I have something missing, it'd be 0x cubed for an example. And that just means it's a placeholder. So let's go ahead and copy and paste this underneath and see if we have any placeholders. First thing I notice is I have a 4x squared and I have a 5x squared. So I get to write these on top of each other and I'm adding. Next I have a minus x and I have an x here, so I get to write those on top of each other. Then I have a plus 2, here's plus 2. And we are adding. And we're adding just like we would normally. So this here was shifted here. And we're adding normally, so 2 plus negative 1, that is a 1. 2x and a negative x, that gives me, this should be a plus 1. This should give me a positive 1x. And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9x squared. So now you have added these two polynomials together. We are adding vertically, just up and down. So negative 1 plus 2 is negative 1. 2x minus 1x is 1x. 5x squared plus 4x squared gives me 9x squared. Let's do another example. Let's take both of these, and it doesn't really matter which one you put on top, which one you put on the bottom. So let's take the second one and put it on top. 2z cubed minus z squared plus 2z. And notice that I'm missing the constant, just the number. We go back to example number 1. I have just a constant or the number here as 2. I don't have a constant here, so I'm going to put a placeholder of 0. I don't have to put a variable behind it because there is no variable in a constant. Moving on to the second one, or this first one here, I have a z cubed, so that means it goes underneath here, a negative z cubed. Then I have a negative 2z. It has to match up with just z, so you can't write it underneath the z squared because this is not squared. Minus 2z. And then I have a minus 1, goes in the constant column. So notice here I do not have a z squared. So that means I'm going to put a placeholder of 0z squared so that doesn't trip me up and make me get an error. And now we're adding. 0 plus negative 1 is a negative 1. Negative 2z plus 2z, those go away. That equals 0. Z. Negative z squared plus 0z squared, that's a negative z squared. And I have 2z cubed minus 1z cubed, that gives me 1z cubed. So to simplify even further, I have z cubed minus z squared, 0z I'm going to not put in my final answer, minus 1 for my simplification. So that is how you're going to add vertically polynomials. Now let's go ahead and do a horizontal example. So horizontal is combining like terms, kind of like we did in a previous video when we were simplifying expressions. So you're going to first place them the like variables together, and you're going to simplify as such. For example, I have a 5x squared and a negative 4x squared. I'm going to write those together. Next I see is a positive 2x, and I have a negative x here. Both are x's, same exponent. I'm going to write those together. Then I see that I have a constant of positive 1, and I have a constant of negative 2. And then what you're going to do is you're going to combine like terms together and simplify. So I have 5x squared plus a negative 4x. If you don't wish to put this plus and just leave it as a minus, that's fine. So this is 5x squared minus 4x squared. That means I have 1x squared left over. Combining these two terms, I have a positive, remember, symbol is in front, positive 2x minus 1x. That means I have a positive 1x left over. And here I have a constant of 1 minus 2, which is a negative 1. Once you combine it horizontally, you're going to write out your final answer. Let me see if I can get a different color. And your final answer is x squared plus x minus 1. Let's do that 2 more times. Step number 1 is identify like terms. So I have here a negative 6x squared, and I have a negative 4x squared. Now I do see a constant here, but it doesn't have any companions, so it's going to be kind of separate off to the side. So writing these two together, negative 6x squared and negative 4x squared. And off to the side, I have my plus 2, which is a lonely constant. Combining these two terms horizontally, I have a negative 6x and a negative 4x. That means I have a negative 10x squared. And we're going to bring this down for our final answer since we cannot have anything to combine with a positive 2. Final example for our adding polynomials. Here is a negative x cubed. Here is a x cubed that also has a negative 4. Here I see a positive y. Here I see an x. And here I see a constant. So the only two things that have like terms, the variable and the exponent that are the same, are negative x cubed and a negative 4x cubed. Everything else are kind of by itself. So I have that positive x, I have that positive y, and I have my positive 2. So let's combine the terms that we have. So I have a negative x cubed and a negative 4x cubed. That means I have a negative 5x cubed. Bringing everything else down because they are lonely and they do not have a buddy. So they are singular, and here is our final answer for adding these two polynomials. Alright, beautiful people, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. In the next one, we will talk about subtracting. Bye!